So today I talked to a lot of clients that are really emotionally wrestling with the fallout from the election. I shared with them a general perspective that I think many of my clients are missing. And this might be helpful for your clients as well. We are in a crisis period in our nation's history. And when people are in crisis, it's a mindset. It's feeling a sense of uncertainty. It's feeling like there's danger. It's feeling like something bad is about to happen or something bad is already happening. It's a life and death survival mode for the entire nation, for the entire culture. But that passes. The history of all nations, I believe, but especially clearly the United States, is a history where we have gone through various seasons. And this is studied in a book called The Fourth Turning, where they discuss that we go through spring, summer, fall, and winter seasons, and each of those seasons has a different mindset, a different ilk to it, a different zeitgeist. So we're in winter right now. We're in a season where it's versed deeply in the emotion of crisis, the emotion of catastrophe, the emotion of danger, the emotion of uncertainty, the emotion of upheaval. So no matter what happens, whether it's COVID or a war or depression or various political candidates fighting one another or various factions of our country in battle with one another, the way it occurs to the common person in the States is danger, crisis, catastrophe, downfall, breakdown, like it's the end of the world, like it's life and death, like it's survival. They take it like it's a survival hit. Whereas in other seasons, like for instance, the fall season that we just completed years ago, where everything was reap, 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 give me what I've worked for. When bad things happened, people weren't thinking, oh no, it's a catastrophe. People were thinking, hey, where's mine? And a little bit more of a selfish view, right? Whereas in the spring and the summer, where you're rebuilding, where there's a renaissance, our most recent period was the 50s, everyone got together and teamed up to build society, basically rebuild society from the Great Depression and World War II. Very different zeitgeist. When a problem was there, it was like, hey, how can we all get together to solve this? Very different mindset. So spring always follows winter. And what most people do not see while they're in winter, while they're in crisis, is not just that this too will pass, but that the reaction to crisis eventually is people that typically are enemies of one another, people that are typically at each other's throats, eventually band together, team up to win the war, redeem the economy, to rebuild the nation. Whatever's fallen apart during crisis, eventually, they don't necessarily get friendly, but they eventually are willing to work together to rebuild. That's what spring looks like. But we have to have a big enough crisis. We have to have enough of a loss. We have to have enough pain as a nation to get to the point where it triggers the willingness to reach across, in this case, the political aisles, and say, let's team up. Even though we don't see eye to eye, let's fix these problems together. Is that happening yet? I don't know that I would say that's the case, considering the reaction to this recent election. But it eventually, if the nation survives, will occur and will reach another springtime. And that's what I've found, that the majority of my clients who are really going through a lot of emotional fallout from this recent election, or ones that reacted to the last election in a similar way, just from the other side, do not see. And it's usually the kind of information I'll share with them. I'll invite them to read the book. I'll invite them to look at the big picture, see how this will eventually pass, and the emotional reactions from a cultural perspective, that the groupthink eventually redeems itself to move on to greener pastures and create solutions that over the long term benefit all of society. Let me know your thoughts. What have you noticed with your clients in terms of reactions, not just to the election, but this period in our history? And what's really helped you to help them from a larger perspective in contending with those challenges and seeing beyond just what's right in front of their face in the short term?